I'm really, really excited to hear about Illuvium, especially you guys are killing it right now. Fuck, you guys' site is absolutely beautiful, by the way, and your design team is amazing.
Oh, thanks. We actually think that our site doesn't look that good right now. So we thank you though. We did revamp it to look that way. We're currently in the process of making an entirely new website that is completely experiential. So what I mean by that is when you go to the new Illuvium website, um, you're gonna there's not gonna be boxes or text or navigation at the top. You're just gonna
Yeah,
dive into an experience where you click, you kind of go from the overworld into harvesting materials and capturing an alluvial. Then you go into the arena, and then you build some structures in Illuvium Zero, and you're like literally like playing our games almost through the experience on the site. And then it leads you into a path to do more research after that. So we are doing a total revamp to where we are with the entire Illuvium brand, where we're removing all crypto jargon from everything. No mentions of NFT, crypto, staking, any of that. And on the surface, we're going to be putting our beautiful aesthetic, our beautiful intellectual property, our design, and all of that stuff. That's sort of the beautiful hook of Illuvium at the forefront of what you see on the website, on all of our social, on all of our pin posts,
is it
on
still
all
the
of our
fight for ETH
copy.
though? Yeah, if you're taking it all off,
I
I mean
mean, I
that's
don't
the
personally. So there's some internal
gotcha.
debate on
I
that
gotcha.
one.
Don't
Let's
worry.
say.
Yeah,
So personally, and while I was CMO of Illuvium, I was not in favor of Fight for ETH. I have some alternate taglines that are okay, that are better or different, that are more focused on other things. But I don't like the Fight for ETH tagline, but two of the Warwicks like it a lot.
yeah.
And the reason why
You're
they
gonna
like
get
it,
some maxis that'll just absolutely
yeah,
hit you if it were anything otherwise, I assume, right?
yeah.
Just
Well,
like,
and ETH is a part of the lore of Illuvium.
yep, yeah,
So like not the crypto, like ETH is a thing in Illuvium, the
yeah.
universe. And so it's like, I don't know, we've tied in the name of the crypto into the universe, and it's sort of it has deeper meaning that you guys don't understand because you don't know the story of Illuvium yet.
Yeah.
But I do. And so it's one of those things where like on its surface, it's kind of a shitty tagline on surface, but once you know the story of Illuvium, it's not. But for me, I like taglines that, and let's say expand the tent for Illuvium to
Mhm.
mainstream gaming, namely, right?
Yeah.
And having ETH in the title, in the tagline of your game does not expand the reach, in my opinion. But you know
It's
what?
very, yeah, it's
That's just my opinion. And, all I can do is make my suggestions on where we should go with that. But if we
it
keep that
is,
tagline, it's fine. It's not
yeah.
bad. It's just it doesn't help us build the tent to be a larger tent.
I mean, I'm assuming that the idea is to become some kind of decentralized community, correct? To be basically a platform in the decentralized realm, operating like a decentralized community. Is that correct or no?
Illuvium is already a decentralized autonomous organization. So, I mean, we are already governed by the people.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. Sorry. Yeah, okay.
yeah, we
Um,
we are already a we are already a DAO, and and the governance process that there's a lot of decisions that get voted upon that core contributors do not like, and so it is very decentralized at Illuvium. So uh, we that was something that Kieran wanted to put into place, and the Warwicks wanted to put in place from the very beginning. Is That's why they had a pre-ILV token before the
mhm.
ILV token, so that anyone for free could get a pre-ILV token without spending any money and have a way to govern Illuvium before we even had a token, so that there was governance before we even made a token that was distributed to the market, and that's the way it's been ever since. For example, we were going to launch Illuvatars, our new custom avatar um, product, and
Yeah.
uh, and the council which are democratically elected through a DAO governance process. They voted to delay the launch of it so that we could put in new features, including the album and collection, which significantly delaying the launch of that product by probably 3 months or so. And not all the core contributors necessarily agreed with that decision. Some did, some didn't, and that's just how it is. And so leadership is truly decentralized at Illuvium, and it's kind of wild. It's really wild to be invoicing a DAO. It's not really a company being paid in crypto, and having like random people, even some like complete anonymous people, having a significant influence over the organization you're in. It's wild.
It is. Yeah, that's crazy. You guys have raised a ton in your pools. You guys are killing it as far as the TVL too.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I mean, between investors and different parties out there, non-investor parties,
Mhm.
people that have come into the Illuvium community for the most part are obviously, there's a bunch of speculation money out there in crypto.
Of
And
course.
we've experienced a huge downturn this year from speculation money deciding
Yeah.
that they are no longer going to speculate on metaverse stuff. We've seen a very similar downturn in the ILV token price, as like pretty much every other metaverse play, if you
Yeah.
will. They
We
kind
saw it
of
in
bucketed,
Splinterlands too. Yeah.
yeah, they bucketed it into a similar thing. But the hardcore community that was there before the bull run is still there now and is looking at the long term. And so, Illuvium staking program is been one of the best, and I think our interface is one
You
of
guys are
the
killing
best
it.
that has
Yeah.
ever
Oh,
existed.
yeah.
And um, and obviously the APYs were insane at the beginning,
Hmm.
but they're still really good right now. And I think that a lot of people that are looking to get like an inflation buster are still looking at these APYs on Illuvium and thinking to themselves, I don't know, this is a way for me, if it, with a part of my portfolio, to maybe get passive income or something. Not financial advice, but I think people are still looking at Illuvium in that way.
You guys are at like
So
80% APY, I think, right now on the ETH pool, right? Yeah.
it
With
depends.
like,
It depends on how. Yeah, it depends on your lock time and all of that.
yeah, of
But
course.
yeah, and that's decaying over time. A few months ago, it was
Hmm.
100 and something percent, and 9 months ago, it was 280%. You know, so it's all
Yeah.
about when you got in on that. But
Yep.
yeah, people are definitely interested in that, and I think as we saw Generation One video games in this space roll out, we saw it was really clear that a player like Illuvium is needed for this space, that we need a triple A game to hit the market. Things like Axie Infinity and other kind of mini game type of games are double A indie game quality games,
Mhm.
which there's some good ones out there, like Splinterlands, for example. That's not a triple A game, but it's like an indie game studio quality game. Some of those can do well. Some of those can get a really decent market share, and they've kind of proven to the industry or proven to the world there's significant interest in owning assets and maybe earning and what have you. But what's clear is that those types of games aren't going to mainstream this space. They're going to get people that are interested in crypto to come in here, or they're going to get people interested in making a quick buck to get in here, or they're going to
That's
get
deep,
people
dude.
interested in making like
Just kidding.
guilds and harvesting cheap labor in a third world country to get in here, but they aren't going to
I'm,
get mainstream gamers in here.
oh, come on, dude. I'm the VP of engineering at Splinterlands. uh, I'm just kidding. I'm giving you a hard time too. But we know, yeah, trust me, we're very well aware that like the crypto community is huge, especially in the other, a lot of the countries that are out there that are just now participating. I think realistically, what it takes is it's just the fact that like exactly what you said. It's so limiting. You can't do a whole lot with crypto and blockchain right now. Everything is asynchronous, right? So it's like you can't really build these extremely robust platforms that are going to be able to keep exact track of, I would say, character stats or positions of, uh, moving targets, so on and so forth. I mean, you're definitely not going to get them to do any kind of advanced geometry or anything like that. But
What are
the
you
play,
referring
the
to? Are you referring to Splinterland specifically?
no, 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 just where the technology is. Period. I mean, you won't get very advanced games that are going to be able to carry the real type of quality that you would see for the types of games that you're describing. It's just, unless it's like you said, it has to be a Web 2 platform that has some kind of
Oh, I see.
interface
I
on
see
it.
what you mean. Yes, 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 yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. Having something completely built Web3 only that has a AAA game quality, or like with some new Web3 only platform, that doesn't exist for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, so like, I mean, that's what Illuvium is having to do. Like, right? We have to use Unreal Engine, and then we have
Mhm.
to have on the back end blockchain connectivity there. And there's really there's not much going on and yet with Unreal with blockchain integration. I mean, once these engines like Unreal
There will
integrate,
be. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Trust me, everybody's exploring what is possible right now. But, for the I would say the amount of detail that a real Puritan would have for a triple game, or sorry, a triple A rated game, um, you know, basically the best you're going to do is some kind of integration between Web 2 and Web 3 and
oh,
being completely, yeah.
that's
It's
the
been,
only option right now, and that's probably. I mean, you're an engineer, so you would be know better than me, but that's probably what we're going to be looking at for at least another 5 years, I would assume.
yeah,
So the good news is that things like Splinterlands and Axie Infinity proved that these types of that this space, at least on the blockchain side, is economically viable.
yeah,
And that these games can hold the attention of a relatively large group of people. Splinterlands in particular has been more steady than Axie. Axie has kind of fluctuated, but can hold the attention of a large group of people, and that there is a business model to be had here. So so without those Gen 1 games coming in here and proving this, then we wouldn't be able to do this like transition phase we're in right now with
so
having Web 2 tech with Web 3 underlaid below it. That's the transition phase into it being all Web 3 in the future. So
yes.
Illuvium gets to be that like transition. I'm thinking Illuvium's going to be one of those transition phase games that shows, hey, games in this space can look like the games you're playing in Web 2 right now, but have Web 3 tech underneath. Come on in, and there's going to be an even greater hook at that point, hopefully driving more adoption along the way.
Tell you what we noticed, right? And I'll tell you from firsthand experience that a lot of the big studios that are out there right now are all looking for on ramps to crypto. Every single one of them. I haven't seen a big studio yet that has not been excited to work with a Web3 company to the capacity of figuring out marketplaces, ownables, all that stuff. It's like I agree. I think there's a huge amount of work that has to be done. The crypto side goes in a lot of different directions. You have people who are focusing specifically on transactional volume, others who are focusing on data, others who are focusing on security or privacy, right? So for it to focus on gaming is going to be probably just more on the transactional side of gaming than anything else, right? Um,
Yeah,
but
that's fair. I think that's fair.
yeah, but with that also comes, the opportunity for capital to go into games a lot differently. Hence why you see guilds are now becoming kind of financial VCs of the gaming realm, right? You're seeing a lot of that stuff too.
Yeah, well, I think you're seeing guilds turn into financial VCs because they can't be the other thing that they started being. If I'm being
Yeah.
perfectly honest,
Yeah.
like they, we all know why they formed to get cheap third world labor to play video games for you, and you harvest profit off of that business model. But now they're positioning themselves, oh well, we do esports, and oh well, we're doing VC, and oh, we're pivoting to do these other things, and we're actually this other thing. So I think that
Yeah,
guilds are having in Web3 are having an identity crisis right now. And the ones that kind of started as like let's say a community of people that just want to play video games with each other like a normal guild, they
yeah,
are not having an identity crisis because they always
nah.
knew who they were. But the ones that were these like pseudo labor shops type of
Yeah.
thing, I don't mean that in a bad way, by the way. I think that actually guild relationships with people in third world countries can be quite mutually beneficial. I don't think it's a bad thing. But I think that the ones that were operating with that business model, I, whenever I sit down and I talk to the people that run these guilds, I'm like, so
Yeah.
just tell me, give me the elevator pitch, bro. What are you guys all about? We're esports, we're competitive tournaments, we're investing in projects, we're got creators, and they like say like 10 things they're doing. And basically that means they're throwing everything against the wall and see what sticks because the original business model doesn't work anymore.
Mhm.
And so that's an identity crisis, I think, for a lot of these guilds. And so we'll see what they end up being at the end of the day. And it's weird because they're kind of these pseudo VCs, but they're not actually a VC. And so that's also strange. Uh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I mean, you guys I mean, you guys are still very, 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 very early, right? Especially as an organization, right? Sorry, when was
Illuvium,
Illuvium
yeah,
established? Yeah,
yeah. Only been around for a couple years. Whereas
yeah.
Splinterlands, you guys have been around for much longer.
2018, yeah, or 2017, I think is when they actually launched. It's launched on
In
Steam,
crypto
actually. Do you remember?
years, you guys are like great grandpas right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 definitely. I mean, I haven't worked there for that long. I took over the engineering team recently, but what's surprising is really we still have 500,000. I mean, actually, it's still we're still gaining users every day, actually, but we're at a little bit more than 500,000 users on average every day, and that number is going up. We just
Fantastic. Are you
crossed,
serious? A half a
yeah,
million now?
500,000, yeah. Oh
Shit.
yeah, that's actually pretty consistent, believe
Man,
it or
I need to
not,
take
and
a
it's
second look at Splinterlands. Last time I was talking
three.
to the
Hey, check
guys
this out.
like,
So we have
okay.
more transactions per day than Ethereum on our platform, right? We're
Damn.
averaging. So originally we were at 12 million. Now we're at 14 million, right? And that's because we've just also increased our whole capacity for throughput in just the last few months. So like we used to have a lot of locking and issues with tournaments and stuff like that. But then yeah, we just passed our 3 billionth battle fought, and we average about 5 to 6 million rounds a day. And now our average is now 6 to 7 million a day.
Dude,
So
that's
it's pretty
really
crazy.
impressive. Those numbers grew a lot more since I talked to the Splinterlands team at Permissionless earlier this year.
Yeah.
So the
Oh
fact
yeah,
that you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
are
Compared to
seeing,
earlier this year, we are way up compared to
man, that's huge.
oh yeah.
That's honestly eye-opening to me. Like I saw Splinterlands as being like a smaller, like in my mind going into this talk, I saw it being a smaller, sort of like indie game quality, like gameplay, but early in the space, dedicated community, and just kind of a rock solid performer, kind of is the way I saw Splinterlands in my head doing my research. But the fact that this project is still growing, the transactions are still increasing, adoption is going up despite a brutal crypto crash, to me says there's something else happening here that's special, that is driving up adoption, and that's got me turning my head and doing a double
Well,
take right now.
and you guys are going to see this too at Illuvium. It's going to be the same thing, right? Like, what's going to happen is as you have an economy that's in play, right, and you have a game that's out, and I think you have people that are interacting. What you're going to do is just the same iterative cycles that we've been doing. We listen. It basically just we're constantly on getting feedback from the community. Part of our QA strategy, our quality assurance strategy, is working directly with the community on new releases and stuff. And it's been really, it's just been growing because it's such an immersive experience. And I think you guys too, like, you guys have a huge, um, I would say, well, first off, you guys have raised just a ton of money, right?
We
Um,
we do have money.
yeah, you do have money, right? But because you're going to come in with something that's a little bit more than just, I mean, we're like Magic the Gathering. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So that's very commonly what we're referred to being as like the blockchain version of Magic the Gathering. But we're economical for most people. It's affordable. When we did we've done 3 mints in the last 2 weeks, and each mint, like we sold, what was it, 1,500 nodes between $3,000 and $5,000 a piece in a single day. We sold 650,000 packs, 550,000 in the first 2 minutes at $6 a pop or $8 a pop.
That's
Um,
bananas.
yeah, crazy numbers, dude. Like, we're making $2 million a minute on mints. It's fucking crazy, right?
Dude, that's
But
amazing,
but
man.
those are
I'm
economies
so
of scale, and that's what you guys are talking about. Like, that's why
yeah.
I'm excited to talk to you guys, because I think you guys have some real opportunity.
Yeah, that's really cool that that the affordability is there and that's helping you guys kind of get to scale. Like the fact that a pack is $6 is helpful. We we are definitely having a second look at pricing. Things like the Illuvitar sale, for example. Initially, Illuvitars were going to be significantly more expensive.
Yeah.
And then we ended up making the decision to make them way more affordable and to break them into discs, which are
But you
essentially
learn, yeah,
packs.
you learn that because of what's going on in the economy right now, what people are having
Yes,
to deal with, and what sells, what's affordable, right? It's a lot easier to make twice your money on $3 than it is on, $3,000.
that is correct. That's
Think
true.
about
And
that. All right.
yeah, and it's also about like what's the objective with the thing you're selling.
True.
So with something like our Illuvitar sale, the objective was just to have an Illuvitar in every wallet. We want people to enjoy the product and like have fun with it and actually
Yeah.
be able to afford enough accessories and base portraits to be able to
Hmm.
customize the thing they actually want. And if they can't get the thing they actually want, like in an affordable way, then the product has kind of failed.
Yeah.
Because that's like actually the appeal, the emotional appeal of the product is they get the avatar they want. And so anyway, I think it's
So
I think it's important that we move as an industry away from this um, financial elite pricing structure, which is really frustrating to see.
yeah,
So,
super
for
fucking
example,
frustrating. It's the
so
most
so one,
frustrating. Huh? It just sucks, dude.
it
I hate
does.
it. I
Yeah,
hate it.
so like for example, and I'm not shitting on Cross the Ages, because I think Cross the Ages has some of the most beautiful art I've ever seen. And their IP is really cool, especially the cyberpunky looking stuff. I don't know how much you've been paying attention to their project Cross the Ages, but when you go to buy their packs, these packs are insanely expensive. And if you wanted to get enough packs to be able to get just all the common cards, just common cards from the first set, I did the math on it, and you'd have to spend over $1,000 just to get the common cards, not even the super rare ones.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm sorry, but that is too expensive.
it is.
That is way too expensive to for anybody that that's a normal person to get in here
It's
and to be able to play a card game. And so
too
for me,
exclusive
that
to
was
grow.
what's that?
It's too exclusive to grow. You can't grow with that type of expectation and price and exclusivity.
You cannot. That's true. And so the kind of pricing that Splinterlands has, and the kind of pricing that Illuvitars has with Illuvium, and actually Gods Unchained as well, has their packs being more affordable. Um, I think it's a good lesson to learn that if you want to bring in millions of players, tens of millions of players, you can't have it cost. I know it might not sound like a lot to the crypto bros out there, but one ETH is a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
Like, I know it doesn't sound like a lot to people in the space, but to a normal person, that's like rent. And that's something they would never spend on a video game or an entertainment product. And so I think that a lot of
Yeah.
projects that are out there, they're in outer space in terms of their pricing, and it's prohibitively expensive. And I think down the road, what's going to happen is they're going to have to lower their pricing in the future, devaluing the value of the people that initially invested too much
Exactly.
early. Yeah.
That's who you risk pissing off, right? But
Yes.
at the same time, it's like if you can keep it alive and keep it going long enough, they'll regain their value just because they're the early version, the early alphas, whatever they are. They're going to be as it scales, they're just rarer than everything else. It's usually how it plays out, but it's a common mistake too. So where are you guys at? What's the roadmap? You know, and I registered for your guys' site, by the way. I was everybody was talking about you guys. Postmaster in here, especially, was the one that was hooking this up, and I'm really, really excited to talk to you guys. So
Yeah, of course. So where we're at in the roadmap right now, we just dropped Private Beta 2. So Private Beta 1 was our arena game, survival mode. Private Beta 2, we've added over, I believe, 100 more alluvials to our survival mode. We added our augment system, overload system, and hyper system to arena, making it a near complete set of gameplay system and alluvials. It's near complete for users to test. So in Private Beta 1, we had about 25,000 people testing that. Private Beta 2, we don't know the exact final target number for testers. It's going to be at least double that. And this is going to be sort of the foundational, combat piece for Illuvium. Is this auto battler, auto chess style gameplay? And this is where the deep kind of gameplay occurs there in Private Beta 2. Next, we have Illuvium Zero, our mobile game, our town builder game. It's basically done. We just need to deploy it. And all of the owners of our 20,000 plots of land that we sold in our first land sale will be able to plug in their land NFT into the alpha for Illuvium Zero very soon. It's going to be, we're literally putting together the final marketing materials for it now. They'll be able to basically test Illuvium Zero, the game, pre-launch with us and plug in their land. And basically, they'll see their region of land. They'll see all of the different attributes of their land. They'll be able to harvest fuel, and we can test balance and test the game with them. And then the third piece, which is near done right now as well, is Crimson Waste in our Overworld game. That's one of the regions, Crimson Waste. And our Overworld game is where you explore the open world, you go harvest materials, and then you enter auto battler sequences to collect alluvials. And we are going to roll that Overworld beta into our Private Beta 2 was the original plan. And that is going to be the third thing that we beta test here in this quarter. So we've got basically all three of our games are in working shape right now. Illuvium Zero, Illuvium Overworld, and Illuvium Arena. And we're now moving into beta and alpha testing all of them individually. Once they are thoroughly tested individually, then of course we need to ensure that the interoperability between those three games works properly, and then we can launch.
yeah,
And so that's the unique thing that we're doing that no one else has done yet, is design multiple games in one studio, in one universe, interoperable blockchain games, and then have them fundamentally designed to be interoperable with each other, not just on a token level or a skin level or some sort of cosmetic level only, but to have them fundamentally need each other. Each game needs the next game to function properly and to be deeply interoperable with each other. And if we can pull that off with our initial 3 games that we're launching with, then we can start to move toward achieving our vision as a studio of having all 9 games in the Illuvium universe. And that vision is obviously a long-term vision, but a lot of game studios out there are talking about interoperability and how they're going to portal into the sandbox or
yeah,
insert random nonsense, and we think they are irresponsible for even talking about that when they haven't even made interoperability with their own games. They've made one video game and they're talking about how they're going to be interoperable with some other universe. That's ridiculous. And so we are building a bridge between each of our games, a very narrow bridge where, like with Illuvium Zero, your fuel and your elements that you harvest in your city in their mobile game are
Yeah.
used to traverse the open world. Then once you're traversing the open world in our overworld, you collect alluvials. And then those alluvials, the bridge that connects that to arena, is you fight those alluvials to the death. That's it. It's really simple. It's designed from the ground up for all three games to need each other, but you can play each individual game for free on its own if you'd like. It's this beautiful, simple, elegant design. We'll see if it works. We hope it does, but it's wild that we're doing this for the first time and no one else has tried yet to have your own games be interoperable with each other deeply. So if we can pull this off, I hope a lot of other studios copy paste the idea because this will at least move the gaming industry forward.
Um, so what are you guys partnering with brands, or are you guys partnering with other guilds? And how are you guys developing the community right now? Because you guys are already huge. You guys have 200,000 people just in your Discord. You guys have a huge following
Yeah.
already.
Yeah, I mean, we have been. We're very selectively partnering with other brands,
Hmm.
and a big part of why we haven't done more of that is we just literally didn't have the business development staff
Hmm.
to facilitate it. But now we do. We did announce a partnership with GameStop, obviously with Immutable X, Chainlink. Those are like fundamental partnerships or like larger partnerships for us. But we are currently working on other partnerships with what I would say would be other very credible games in our space.
Yeah.
We're being careful not to partner with let's say like smaller games or games that are like the quality level is not near what we're trying to achieve with Illuvium, because
Hmm.
we've received a lot of negative feedback from those types of partnerships in the past. I very much had the view of all boats rise with the rising tide in 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 the crypto space or Web3 gaming space. But our community has made it clear that they want Illuvium to partner but only with like the best of the best, and so we need to kind of follow that guidance. Um,
Of
so
course.
yes. So those are the big three that we've announced: GameStop, Chainlink, and IMX. But I've got another one cooking up of a household name I'm working on right now, directly with their head of marketing on another game. So I'm excited. I'll be excited to roll that one up soon. It's one of my favorite Web3 games, actually.
When you guys are you guys going to put out the lore soon? Is
No,
that you were saying that?
we are not. No.
No.
So,
Uh,
so that's kind of weird, right? So,
yeah.
Illuvium will be releasing some stuff that shows some things about the lore.
Yeah.
We are making animated sequences, trailers, cinematics, you know, those sorts of things that are going to be in the
Yeah.
game and or released as marketing materials. But Aaron Warwick, who kind of led the process of creating like the fundamental lore for Illuvium,
Hmm. Of
he wants experiencing Illuvium to be like. Have you ever played Did you ever play Myst,
course, dude.
the
Yeah.
old
Of
PC game?
course.
Yeah. Okay.
Love
Cool.
it.
Absolutely. Love
All
it.
right.
Yeah, fucking dopest game. You know what? Did you ever play the game that those guys made before that, which was the
No.
little notepad game? Oh,
Notepad game.
yeah.
No. Was it like physical paper?
No, 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 no. It was just scenes that you click through. Yeah, it
Okay.
was just yeah, very, very simple storytelling games, like original ARG games.
Got it. So you're a
Yeah.
middle-aged man like me then.
I'm 38,
Oh, you're
so
38. I'm literally
yeah.
38. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Uh, same. Yeah,
So we're the same age. So we both experienced
same
Myst
age.
when we were kids. And
Hmm.
so you know how in Myst, like you didn't know anything about anything when you went
Hmm.
into Myst? You just like saw this crazy world and then you just kind of discovered it all and figured it out as you went along. That's the
Yeah, it's
way
it's just that the
people
whole thing is just confusing at first. It's just like waking up with dementia, you know?
I
that's
downloaded
correct.
38 pages of cheat codes to figure it out.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, the cheat codes. Do you remember there used to be a phone number you could call?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Do you
Like
remember you used to have to buy the books at like Best
yeah,
Buy
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah, the
Toys
cheat
R
books,
Us? Yeah, the cheap
Toys R
books,
Us,
basically.
Kmart,
You know?
and anyway, there was a phone number you could call too, where there's like a guy that you could just ask video game questions and he charged you
Yeah.
by the minute and he just told you how to get through the level.
Walk you
Anyway,
through it.
back back
They'd
in the day,
literally walk you through it. Yeah, that's what they would do.
yeah, it's like basically like paying Google like by the minute. So interesting. I was just thinking about that on a car ride today. I'm like, God, I'm old.
It's so funny, huh?
So in Myst, it was sort of confusing, I guess you could say, or mysterious when you entered the world and you didn't know
Yep.
what was going on. It's going to be a similar experience with Illuvium. You'll sort of see you'll get a cinematic sequence. You'll be dropped in. You'll be discovering things about the universe as you go through it, and there'll be a story that full unfolds as you go through the main game.
So
Aaron doesn't want to reveal anything about that main story. However,
yeah,
we are revealing all of our alluvials. We're revealing all of our regions. We'll be talking about their abilities and, bios and specifics about the characters and that sort of thing. But we aren't going to talk about the story or what Illuvium even is, or things like that, because people are going to discover it in the actual storyline. And it's more wild and unexpected than people think. And
really.
a lot of the answers about what Illuvium is in the lore is already available to people right now. If they just look at the trailer and they actually like think about it and pay attention to the game that they were already playing, but people just haven't figured it out yet. And so it gets weird. I'll
Are
be
you
honest.
familiar with are you familiar with Wilder World at all?
Yes, I am. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have a feeling that like there's probably a large intersection between your guys' communities, I would assume. Just because I get kind of the same like I love Wilder. They were one of the ones that had us when we actually minted here at Monks. But yeah, I get kind of they're looking really, really long term into the future too. They had a similar kind of thought process about sticking to a single platform right now would be kind of pointless. But yeah, they're building a whole universe too. But this,
Wilder World
yeah,
is a immersive 5D metaverse.
yes,
It's
yeah.
got 5 dimensions. Somebody
So
give that marketing team a raise.
they
Oh my god.
they have dude. So their founder is fucking awesome though. He's
Five
just like,
dimensions.
yeah. Um,
Sorry, it cracks me up.
dude, I mean, everything metaverse is
Shit,
pretty
Illuvium
much,
needs to Splinterlands needs to step it up to 6 dimensions, man. What are you waiting for?
dude. We're still 2 dimensions. We're just like you guys. We're in a box.
We're on a
You know what I
freaking
mean?
rectangle. They have like
Yeah.
3 extra dimensions. They're traveling through time. Wow.
We're I don't know, man. It's tough to say. Like, I think Splinterlands really proves the point that the economies are definitely there, right?
Yes.
Just like Magic the Gathering was, it's still a multi-billion-dollar game. So is Splinterlands. I mean, it's roughly the same amount, not nearly the same amount of players by far. There's fucking way more Magic the Gathering players. But as far as like current volume that we sell out,
Mhm.
and the fact that even in a down market, continually growing just because of accessibility. Also because it tends to be a little bit more, when everything falls as far as it has, right? And I still think we have a long way to go if things are to get worse, at least for crypto, right? Which I'm not sure that they will too much, but um, it's still more stable than how a lot of currencies around the world are actually performing. And it's still a much safer hedge if you're just trying to store value somewhere. And so being tied to a game or being brought into a community that is, people like yourself, like minded, or has something to offer to people around the world, is what's going to gain all that critical mass. That's where we're at, right? And if you're still
Mhm.
able to perform in times like these, then
Then you got
I
something
mean,
that the market wants, right? So, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, I would say in crypto world it's timeless, but who knows what fucking timeless is in crypto world? It could be 10 years, you know.
Yeah,
That's
I don't.
it. It's
Yeah,
gone.
yeah.
We'll see.
I'm having a
You know.
hard time believing that Splinterlands or Illuvium are like the thing yet. Without
It's going to be a bunch of things. It's got to be a bunch of things. It can't just be the thing. It's got to be a bunch of things. I mean, fuck, how many different web browsers was there for how long before we, everybody kind of settled between like two or three, really just
yeah,
one. But
that's
you
true. I
know,
mean, you need a bunch, and the market will tell you what it wants.
and how
I
much
just feel
adoption do you need, right?
yeah,
Like,
I just feel like we're so early right now. Like we're like
of course,
Farmville with social games on Facebook early
yeah,
on
true,
online games. And I
true,
think
yeah.
that's what like something like Splinterlands is. And it's like one of those like successful early games that like maybe is a name that people remember as being the early game that like set the stage. But what did that eventually lead to? That eventually led to Clash of Clans and other bigger games. And then that eventually led to things like World of Warcraft. And then that eventually led to things like League of Legends. And then that led to things like Fortnite. And then that led to things like the things we see today. And so I think we're that early. I think we're like these are like stage 0 and stage 1 games of this new space, and we're like the Farmville like, and the Clash of Clans, if you will, of the Web3 gaming space. And so that's why I'm thinking when I'm thinking about Illuvium, I'm thinking, yes, we have these games that we're developing and we're going to launch now. But what are you going to do with that universe? What are you going to do with that intellectual property long term that can help it last throughout this entire technological revolution? And so I think that there's other considerations that do matter for that. Things like building out things like comic books, Netflix shows, building out games in multiple genres, and then being really mindful of future platforms, whether that be AR, VR, and what have you, and make sure you're adopting those and you don't just rest on your laurels. So I would hope that, with Splinterlands, you guys are obviously you're doubling down on your main title and things are going really well. But what are you doing with the intellectual property? What are you doing to step it up? What are you doing to innovate? What's the next game?
Us?
Stuff like that.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
yeah, no, they've got, I think we've released 4 games in the last 4 new versions of games, including, well, Tower Defense just got released last week. That's going to be a mini game because we just started releasing mini games too, which are more playable because it's easy on mobile, right? They're just easier games to play for most people. Doesn't
Mhm.
require most of the strategy stuff. So we're actually kind of going in a simpler path on the mini game side. But yeah, no, we've partnered with a lot of big brands as of, I mean, the ones that we have that are public are Warner Entertainment, um, but really, really big brands to deliver games, and some of the other ones, Major League Soccer, for their games. So it's mostly just the fact that it's a platform. So
I
other
see.
than that, like
Everybody's
it
got their
offers,
play. Hmm.
yeah. So ours is just because we have such a large economy that it's also bigger than just what our normal big strategic games here in America. Like a large percentage of our user base really requires Spanish speaking, or in other countries as well. So I would say a majority of the actual people that play are in North America. Um, but as far as growth opportunity goes, where we're seeing growth right now, especially is in the types of countries where where economies are mostly impacted right now, right? And people are moving to crypto because maybe their country doesn't allow them to get out of there or whatever, right?
Hmm.
So or it's just a better play because over time, with a good economic model, cards will actually gain value, similarly to like baseball cards, right? That's part of the way that Splinterlands has it set up. But anyways,
Sure. If you're in a country with a crumbling currency and an unsure economy, and you know
well,
you're
it's not
any
necessarily always that it's crumbling. It's just that it's, nothing is really playing that well against the dollar in we have, the way that our cards are structured on our market, typically people are looking at everything in conversion of dollars, right? In terms of dollars.
Mhm.
So it just plays into their favor. It doesn't matter where you are. You could be in Europe, you could be in South America, anywhere. People are affected by it. But that's why we think we saw such an uptick, right? It's
Mhm.
because a lot of people can't, crypto is probably the most effective way to move money around. So there's still a lot of people that need that right now in the world. I mean, just think about, what's going on in Ukraine and all the crazy stuff happening in Europe, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Well, let me ask you this: are we always going to have to talk about macroeconomics and
crypto.
and crypto? Yeah, not just crypto, but macroeconomics and like uh, the investment
How
aspects
macro is
related.
Illuvium, right? Your guys' community's got to be fucking massive.
It's
200,000 people on Discord. That's bigger than most towns. And you guys are just spread across the world. Like that's a huge. I mean, when you think of it in terms of people, that's a big force. You have to think like that, right? I mean, it doesn't matter where you are. Everything. I mean, you probably see it in your guys' community too, right? How many people are affected by world economics that you're just like, shit, we needed that done,
everyone.
and this person's yeah, this person's
Everyone
in a
is.
war zone, right? Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, we literally have members of our team in a war zone,
that's the
need
world
to
we
be
live in,
done. Yeah,
right? So I don't know. Does it have to affect the price of everything? No, maybe not, right? But does it affect us community wise? Absolutely, right? So and I definitely think that we learn a lot more from these types of experiences than we did before. Like there's a natural progression towards the way that we share information like this, right? Through communication and sharing it with people. So these types of interactions give you more perspective and
hmm
make us probably more well-rounded in our opinions. But
I agree. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I like this space. Um,
yeah,
you don't get this in the, let's say, traditional gaming space. You mostly just get clickbait conversations talking about the hottest headlines, which are normally, um, you know, let's say such and such studio is an evil corporation, and let's shit on the latest headline about how they screwed up.
yeah,
There's that. And then the other side of the coin is we are a niche community that's really into this video game. And if anybody says anything bad about it, we will punt you. And then
yeah. It's
there's
still
no room in the middle really for any substantive discussion. It's just like, are you a fanboy or are you a fudder? And, the algorithms will reward both of those accordingly. And anything that's not one of those two things does not get rewarded. Whereas in the Web3 space, the like conversations about the space and people learning, there's a lot more people in here wanting to learn and wanting to be more worldly and wanting to be more future thinking, and that makes this space different. Probably this space is probably going to go the polarized direction though once we have adoption, because that's what humans that's just what humans naturally do, right? They want to either see things they agree with or strongly disagree with, and anything in between they don't want to see. So I think we're in
attention.
a magical time right now where this is like the good times, everybody. This is the times when you're with like-minded people and there's not too many idiots in here and we're not overwhelmed with money and agendas and parties that don't necessarily have the same, let's say, values that we have right now and good intentions we have right now. This is the good times. I'd say in about 5 years from now, it won't be the good times and we'll be headed towards maturity. And it'll be the times where things become more like Web 2 gaming and Web 2 tech than any of us would have liked. That's just
Yeah.
my prediction.
Man. Yeah, I don't know. So again, I really, really hope that this is very progressive, not in its ideology, but just progressive in the thought that like people can communicate openly about things that don't have to necessarily be political ever. And because of the world that we live in, where everybody that we know, somebody that we know is affected by something going on in the world somehow, right? That this is one of the ways that we find common ground. And I think we're figuring this out. And it definitely hasn't been easy. Before this, it was, I mean, we still see it today. I mean, fuck, Facebook shut down accounts from China and from Russia because of social influence, right? So, people are getting smarter. They're starting to understand, how to deal with this much information. And there's just a lot more of us too, right? So what used to not seem so crazy is actually a lot more likely to happen because of the law of large averages. When you put more people on there, you're just going to have higher deltas between the highs and the lows. So
That's fair. Hey, let me ask you a
um,
fun question.
yeah,
So let's say, we're all decentralized right now, guys. We all
uh-huh.
want decentralization in Web3. This is what we all think is the right thing. Let's say Zuckerberg pulls it off. He makes the best headset ever. He makes the best glasses ever. He makes the software platform everybody's using. And that becomes the dominant Web3 gaming platform. What do you think? You think Splinterlands is jumping on there? What do you think, bro?
No, I think Splinterlands, Splinterlands is Splinterlands. It's always going to be what Splinterlands does. Now, what we've learned is that we just invest in other things that are not Splinterlands the same way that anything else would. I mean, we're a multi-billion-dollar market cap, it's at that point, right? It's not, you're already stuck to what you are. You're always going to have your hardline people that are making your primary source of income, right? Like that's what we've learned, right? Card games don't necessarily change that much. I mean, there's not so much you can do. You can just be more inclusive. What we've learned is to be just more inclusive on multiple chains. We started on Hive. We're moving to a multi-chain strategy now, right? So that's one of the things that we're launching is the Ethereum smart contract for their new Rooney Mint. It's actually based on the CryptoMonks contract, one that we have here.
Nice.
So, that's just, that's part of the adoptive cycle is to, well, I'll tell you what it is, right? If you want to be successful in Web3, you have to work with all the independent operators out there and you have to support them, period. Right? There's no hope to be a giant single operator. If you want to succeed, you have to make your success part of everybody else's success. Just straight up. That's the only way that these economies are going to work, right? And to be honest, like,
No, you have to step on the face of everybody on the way to the top of the ladder, 1980 style. I was
well, no, I think okay, so like, here's a very, 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 macroeconomics focus, right? In free markets, right? Truly free markets, monopolies exist, right? That's the whole part of a free market is that monopolies will exist. And if there's terrible monopolies, then the masses will overthrow them, right? The idea of Web3 is to produce these monopolies in a decentralized, autonomous fashion so that they are technically able to operate on their own, but autonomously, right? And so that means that people have to have a piece of the ownership in it as well. So how do you do that, right? You got to make sure that they're not private organization. Private organization is a concentration of wealth, right? And that is totally possible. But when you have everybody like-minded, thinking the same way about a certain topic, right? Then I think that you'll find these DAOs can prove to be hyper valuable. To not, I mean, these will be humanity cause, right? Real humanity causes. So we'll see. But that's a very long term, macro focus. I know we didn't want to talk about economics, but
I don't know.
that's my
I
outlook.
didn't say I didn't want to talk about economics. That makes sense.
Sorry.
I was just curious. I was just asking a fun question of like, let's say Meta took off. Would you put your game on Meta's whatever platform to reach more people? And I could tell you as a I don't speak for all of Illuvium because we're a DAO, but I'd tell you,
Oh
hell
yeah.
yeah, I would. For me, I want Illuvium to reach as many people as possible, and and I have seen the playbook of Web 2 and really of every type of media and every type of everything ever, from sports to any type of interest. And the bottom line is the more platforms and the more channels you are on, and the more available your product is, the more affordable it is, the more people you can reach, and the more impact you can have on the world, period. And so for me, there's this contingent of people that want a new decentralized world, like you described, for all the virtuous reasons you described, and that's better. I agree. Personally, I don't think that is going to be the entire world we're going to be in. I think we're going to be in a hybrid world here in Web3, where we have half of the power concentrated in decentralized entities and the other half of the power in decentralized entities. And personally, I'm open to playing with decentralized entities if that means that the virtues of decentralization or some IP or some game or some community are shared with more people that are currently in centralized platforms. And I like that idea. I think that's for me. I think that's a contrarian idea in this space, but I can tell you, based on basically every historical example of anything that's relevant and
I
isn't
don't think
dying.
that's contrarian at all. No, that's realistic. There's nothing contrarian about it. Private
No,
enterprise
a
has
lot
to
of people tell
exist.
me a lot of people tell me they disagree and they don't want that to be the way things
No,
are.
you just don't want things to be invasive. You know what I mean? That's it. That's the point, right? So I think, to an extent, like the private organization has to be there, period. Right? You have to have people have to have their own agendas. You know what I mean? Period. But yeah, I agree with you. I don't think that's contrarian.
Sweet. Okay, so Splinterland's confirmed on Oculus in 2023.
All right. We're taking bets on this. Do we want to take bets? I mean,
I don't want
I'm in
to
the
bet.
engineering department, so
I don't want to bet on it. No.
okay. All right. Well, are we going to see you guys on there? Is this a guarantee as well? Like,
I
is
was
this a
just
two-way
wanted
race?
to bring it up as a discussion topic. It's a good way to bring up the centralization versus decentralization thing. And then I like it because it teases out the virtues of centralization along the way. And I think
Do you
that's
guys
good.
have any mints? Do you guys have any more mints coming up? You were talking about yeah,
Illuvatars.
yeah. You guys said that was a little postponed, right, by the community.
It is, yeah, it is. So our first one we did was land,
Yeah.
and that nobody gets to yield any power or really anything meaningful from the land other than I think a few blueprints
Hmm.
pre-launch. And Illuvatars will be pre-launch as well. That's just purely cosmetic, and then you can earn rewards through the album and collection. But we aren't going to let anybody mint anything pre-launch that has any effect on gameplay or power. It's a fair launch strategy. So I think after those two events, the first land sale, which is over, and then the first Illuvitar sale, which is over, I don't think we plan on doing any more sales of any description until we launch all of our games. And then post launch, we may do, an additional Illuvitar sale, an additional land sale, etc. So we could, if we wanted to, sell alluvials now, and we could probably make a lot of money doing that.
Hmm.
We could probably, I don't know, if I'm guessing, we could probably make, I don't know, $100 million doing that, if I were to guess.
Wow.
I mean, we sold land for $72 million.
Yeah.
If we sold our alluvials, like the actual characters you can use in the games to like actually achieve what you want to achieve and get power and what have you, we could probably sell those for $50-100 million. I don't know, something ridiculous like that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do it because that would destroy a fair launch. So long answer to a short question. We're going to be selling Illuvatars pre-launch. Doesn't affect power, but and then we'll kind of take it from there, and hopefully we'll launch after that, and then people can earn alluvials and buy them on the Illuvidex and that type of thing. So
Nice.
we're taking a very different approach than a lot of projects that did pre-sales, whitelists, and let you like buy the actual power or buy the actual product that gives you in gameplay advantages pre-launch, which I can understand why studios would do that or why organizations would do that. It's a great way to get funding, right? And I totally understand that. But Kieran is completely opposed to us doing that as Illuvium. And so we will stick with our guns and we'll stick with that whole fair launch ethos. And hopefully it works out for us. But I think that helps us attract a lot of people too that kind of get pissed that when they go check out a project and they're like, oh, damn, I missed 3 pre-sales and 2
Yeah,
lists or whatever.
right.
You're like, I'm that far behind on this.
Yeah,
And hold on, I got to drop like 5 ETH to even
you
get a
you just
decent amount
gotta
of things.
fucking
It's
come
like,
in hard, huh?
yeah, you got to come in
To draw
hard and
down.
like spend like $5, $6, $7, $10,000, $20,000 to like catch up with other people. I don't know, man. Some people like that. Personally, it makes me feel like shit if I discover something cool and I realize I have to invest that much money to catch up with other people. It makes me feel bad. That's not fun anymore. That's not fun at all. So anyway, Illuvium staying away from that.
Will that be an auction style, like the land was?
Illuvitars is going to be sold in turn and with discs, so basically packs.
Did you guys do like a Dutch style auction before?
We did do a Dutch auction for land, yeah,
Yeah.
and it worked out great. I mean, we got
Fuck
great
yeah,
price
dude.
discovery. I mean, I aped in in the first
The
wave like
greatest,
an idiot, but
the greatest ICO ever, which was EOS, was a Dutch style auction. They raised 6.5 billion.
wow,
Mm-hmm.
how about that? Yeah, Dutch auctions are great for land. I think we'll do probably the exact same format or similar for all of our future land sales, just because those are higher price items and we want to ensure price discovery, true price discovery, so they don't get bought up by whales, obviously. That was a huge concern. That didn't happen. So we got good price discovery. The floor was discovered within a couple waves, and then it just stayed there for the whole sale. It was really nice. It was nice and even. And everybody got the land they wanted, which was cool, and it completely sold out. Illuvitars is a totally different format. It is a time-gated sale. So for like a specific window of time, people can buy as many Illuvitars as they would like during that window of time in either a basic pack or like the premium pack. I'm forgetting the name off the top of my head. Sorry, it's like 10 something at night. And depending on which pack you
All
buy,
good, dude.
you'll get different rarities of drops of
Yeah.
of Illuvitars. And this is like the only time that these specific Illuvitars and accessories will be available. So you can open them and you can combine them if you want and bond them into your final alluvial or Illuvitar. When you do that, you actually burn the accessory NFTs, like destroy them, and then burn them into your final customized Illuvitar. It's a deflationary mechanic that actually burns NFTs, and then that's your Illuvitar forever, and it's minted into a final NFT.
Nice.
Or you can just keep the packs. So if you wanted to, like, let's say you're a collector or investor or something like that, not financial advice, you could buy a bunch of packs and then just sit on them. And, and with the assumption that in 3 years from now or whatever, 5 years from now, people are going to want that first set of Illuvitars that are no longer available, and you'll have unopened packs that you could sell, you could keep, you could put them under your pillow, you can do whatever the hell you want with them. And so we're giving people the option to do whatever they want. And then we have our albums and collections feature, which is being built for Illuvitars. So if you collect accessories of a certain type or alluvials of a certain type, etc., you'll fill up your collection, and then you can actually collect rewards for having collected certain types of alluvials of a certain type and filling up essentially your book and your album. And so there's like this collection rewards aspect up to it as well. So it's a lot more than just like buying some randomly generated profile picture. It's a completely customizable NFT with gear slots. You can slot into it with packs that you can buy. That is all a part of a collectible album. So we're trying to take like the PFP concept and take it to its like maximal extent it can possibly be pushed to with today's technology. That's Illuvitar's. So hopefully it's really good. And we did the same thing with land. Like we didn't want to just sell people land and then maybe you'll be able to do something with your land one day, guys. Question mark. No, we built an entire fucking video game just for your land. And you can and fuel is available on that land and there's all this utility and you can literally plug your piece of land and play your piece of land in the game, etc. So anytime we sell anything, we want to try to push it to its maximum extent of interactivity, of utility, and of what we can push in terms of the blockchain technology with it as well. So the more we can take risks and the more we can kind of push the envelope in those ways, the more Illuvium can kind of move the industry forward. Maybe some things we do fails, but if we can take some wild risks and do some new cool concepts, then that can be a part of the playbook for other people that enter the space, making everybody better.
Yeah, I would love to have you talk to the guys at Splinter, the rest of our VP of growth as well at Splinterlands. Yeah, it'd just be interesting to see if there would be any kind of, I don't know. Anyways, yeah, like I said, we have an economy, right? Yeah,
Partnership opportunities, you mean?
I don't even know if it would be partnership, but just like co-sponsoring certain opportunities. We're both Web3, right? We're both trying to inspire two different aspects of Web3. There's no reason why that whole entire space by itself is all about exposure. You know what I mean?
I'm open. Look, I'm open to it. Look, I'm the all boats rise with the rising tide guy.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's the same type of mentality, and to be honest, you guys are doing great work. It looks, the actual stuff that you guys have looks freaking amazing, and that's why I'm really pumped on lore. Like being the type of community that we are, it's a big part.
DM me.
We had our community wrote off.
DM me
What's
the
that?
emails. DM me the emails of your monks people that applied for the private beta 2, please.
Oh yeah. I think just about everybody that's here probably wants to hop on that for sure.
Okay, everybody, do
I know
not
we're
DM
not.
me. So
Yeah, no worries. I'll
if you could
have
DM me the emails, and then what I can do is I can see if I can get you guys into the private beta 2.
Hell yeah. All right, perfect. Yeah, I was gonna try to pump you for that. This is the shakedown, right? What else do you got that you can give us right now? Come on, give us something else. Give us more.
Shit.
I posted the
This is the
link.
shakedown,
I
dude.
got right now.
I'm putting my hands in your pockets right now. Come on, what else can you give us?
I posted the link as well to the private beta in VC text chat up above.
There it is, straight up. The shakedown.
Yeah, to obviously register, and then I need the email you registered with. That would be helpful,
worries.
and then I can give that to the team. And no promises, of course, but I don't know. This was a great conversation. I really enjoyed talking to you. And
I appreciate it, man.
And I like how thoughtful you are about this space. And I really, really hope that that more people that think like us end up leading this space rather than the greedy corpos that dominate the Web 2 space. And so anyway, a big takeaway I have here is that I'm gonna go ahead and play Splinterlands. I gotta check. I gotta take a second look at this game.
It's cult-like following, man. Be careful.
I know. I need to be really careful. I have an addictive personality. But I'm gonna take a second look. Thank you. Were there any other final questions, or was there anything else that anyone wanted to know or on their mind?
I had a question. I don't know if you guys can hear me still. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we can definitely hear you.
Okay, so just going off of that, I'm already in a private DM with your new hire, the Lauren. So would you like me to add you to that chat to set that up for communication?
Lauren
Andrew and I are connected.
Is our director of partnerships, so that would be the best person if we were to do partnerships with you guys,
right? Okay,
or with anyone really.
Okay.
So Yes, that
It's
is
the
like
shakedown.
the
I'm going to
person.
shake you down for partnerships too, dude. Straight up.
Okay,
Just
thank you.
kidding. I'm just kidding, Andrew.
For partnerships, yeah, definitely just talk to Lauren. Lauren will be able.
Okay.
He'll be the guy.
All right. All right. Yeah, I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Partnerships. TSG down there is our influencer manager. If you guys
Oh,
want me
okay.
to do like interviews, bookings, media engagements, that type of thing.
We do a ton of that stuff. Yeah. At Splinterlands, especially, like we have a huge push on influence. That's what I actually used to do before this. I was the CTO of a massive influence company out in Hollywood. But TSG would love to talk to you about that as well.
Yeah, say
Yeah,
less,
I'm-
man. Just DM me and we'll sort something out. Sorry, Andrew.
Yeah, I know you're fine. I want to get you on Illuvitox. I need you on camera though. You can't be a shady hooded figure.
Oh, fuck that, dude. No, Shady. Come on, dude. I'm just kidding. I'm fully doxxed, dude. Yeah, you can go find pictures of me real easy. I think it's on my profile
I'm
here
gonna
on
get you on
Monks.
Illuvitox, man. I'm gonna get you on my show.
All right.
I like your
Okay,
I like your
okay.
take. I like your take. I like you have a different take than pretty much anyone else that I've talked to. So I like
Oh,
it. A
dope.
bit
Well,
more
I
mature.
appreciate it. Yeah.
And you played
Oh.
Myst. And you're a middle-aged man like me.
Dude,
so all those things add up.
We probably, yeah, dude. Trust me, we could be friends.
Bunch of youngins.
We already are friends, guys. All right, cool.
All right.
Any other questions? Anything else on everybody's mind? We good?
I think we're good, dude. Enjoy your night. Take care. Thanks for hanging out with us extra late. I really appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, thanks
Oh,
for coming,
yeah.
guys.
I could talk about
Thank
this
you,
crap
guys.
all night, but my wife would kill
Fucking
me.
A, right? Okay. Yeah. Well, let me know if you want to, because yeah, we can do it when I just fucking sit up, talk about this till the sun comes up. But
I came on your show. You come on my show next, and we'll take it from there.
all right, so, you know that's a fair trade. I'll take
All
that
right.
offer.
All right.
All right. Take care, guys.
Adios, guys.
I told you that shakedown would work.
You just shook me down for everything.
I just shook you down and made you feel like you actually did me a favor. You know,
Mhm.
You did big
The
time.
power of negotiation.
There it is, dude. All right. Well, again, really appreciate it, guys. Thank you for coming in here and spending this much time with us. This is great. I love it. Definitely learned a lot. And again, looking forward to talking to you guys again.